This is Eagle Owl, and today we'll be talking about Emmanuel Ogbah. Yes, can he come to Philadelphia? Also, we got to talk about Jalen Herz, and he has a problem in Philly. And lastly, Jalyx Hunt, a guy I rarely talk about, but we got to talk about him today. But let's get straight into it. All right, so before we start with the Jalen Hurts drama, I know y'all tired of Eagle Owl talking about that, so I will push that to the back. Let's talk about Jalyx Hunt. So yes, Jalyx Hunt. I was doing some research on him. I just wanted to know a little bit more about him coming out the draft, him in college, and the things he did. And I found a recent article by Andrew DeSecco, and he talked to his trainer out in Florida. I could be wrong about the location, but it was some things that the trainer said, and he said this dude can be a gem, and he want to prove why the Eagles took him in the third round. But let me go over the quotes from the trainer. I just want the kid to go out there and show everybody the reason why Philly took him in the place that they did. Because him coming out, a lot of people like, yo, y'all could have got this guy, this guy, this guy. But we took Jalyx Hunt. And then he went on to say, that's not just me having his back. That's me knowing what type of work he put in and how he been preparing himself and what's to come. Now, far as what I seen, far as researching Jalyx Hunt, he was a safety at one point, a linebacker. Then he moved to DN, and he was saying like I was just getting my weight up, getting my weight up, getting my weight up. Then eventually I became a DN, and he's one of those versatile DNs that Vic Fangio like he can cover, he can rush, he can do it all. He can do it all. Like I said, a 1 point safety, 1 point linebacker, and now he's a defensive end in the NFL and took it in the third round. And we need Jalyx Hunts to work. But let me finish the rest of the quote. The trainer went into, you're going to get a baller from top to bottom. A kid that speak on, just put me anywhere, wherever you need me, I'm game. Special teams, different positions on the defense. I think Philly got them a real gem out the draft. And that's the trainer going into Jalyx Hunt. But what I was going to say is that we really need Jalyx Hunts to work. If you really look at our third round picks, they've been, average or unproven. Like Davion Taylor, we know that was a bust, right? Milton Williams been a rotational guy who I believe that can be that guy. But then you go into Nakobe Dean. A lot of fans are 50-50 on him. Then Tyler Steen, we don't know yet. We hoping he can be something, but Tyler Steen. You got Sidney Brown, who I really love. I think he can be a star. And then you got Jalyx Hunt. So we usually take in the third round guys that are more project and got high ceilings. Like we thought Davion Taylor was going to be the next big thing because his speed, his athleticism, the things he can do, but it just never translated to like football. Like he has the athletic skills, but it just never translated the way we wanted it to. Milton Williams just need more opportunities. Nakobe Dean injuries so far, but we'll see what he do this year. Sidney Brown been hurt. Tyler Steen, he had one game against Dallas, but didn't look the best. And again, we're hoping Jalyx Hunt can work. So those been our past third round picks since 2020. I mean, hopefully Jalyx Hunt can work because if he do, the future, oh, do I have to say it is bright? Bryce Huff, even if Josh Sweat decide to go, okay, you got Jalyx Hunt, you got Nolan Smith. Like you got guys that'll be ready. Of course, we probably sign some guys, and we know Brandon Graham will be gone. But yeah, Jalen Hunt really need to work. But speaking of signing some guys, we could possibly sign a guy I really like that's out there, and he played for the Dolphins. That's Emmanuel Ogbah. So hopefully, I'm saying this last name right. So according to Bleacher Report, the Eagles are named as a potential suitor for Emmanuel Ogbah. So he will fit, like the quote here say by Word on the Birds, the Philadelphia Eagles will be a logical fit for Ogbah because 2023 defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. He had 19 pressures, 11 hurries, and 5.5 sacks. And that's what you want a guy that's rotating. If he give you like 5.5 sacks, 6 sacks, that's a decent rotational piece. So I would like him in Philadelphia. We already know the Dolphins had to let Emmanuel go because they are in cap hell. And hopefully we could pay him some because he's still out there on the market. I've been seeing the Khalil Max and things, stuff like that heat up. I don't think we'll get a guy like that. I think he will be more of a fit. Maybe we could get Matt Judon, but he want a big contract or another extension. But this guy, I think you could get on a decent 1 year deal to rotate and add to the defensive ends because I think our defensive ends are somewhat unproven. We hoping Josh Sweat, can get out that funk he's in. He's probably the most proven guy on our team, to be honest, Josh Sweat, and he's coming from a down year. Bryce Huff did it one time. Let's see if he can do it again. Nolan Smith is going into year 2. Brandon Graham, we don't know if he's going to look too old. Like, we just don't know. Then Jalyx Hunt, we got to see if he's a baller or not. But if you could bring this guy in to get some snaps, and again, if he could give you 5.5 sacks or 5 sacks, that's pretty decent. So the Eagles should take a look into this. Sign him on a cheap deal. Sign him on a cheap deal, see what he could bring. And he know the Vic Fangio scheme. He know the scheme. So I think he'll be a perfect fit for Philadelphia, in my opinion. All right, so let's get into the BS. Let's get into the BS, okay? So this clip from First Take, I think the original hosts are on break, like the Shannon Sharps and Stephen A. Smith, and that's when they just invite people to get notoriety. So they invited this guy from New York to talk about the Eagles, and this is what he had to say about Jalen Herz.
Another problem. Jalen Herz has got a problem here, and it's not stuff on the field. Jalen Herz listen, I worked in Philadelphia. I know the town pretty well. There were some things going on there with Jalen Herz in that locker room in terms of guys not loving how he handled himself, believing some of the headlines along the way after they went to the Super Bowl and after he got paid. There are some fences for Jalen Herz to mend in that room. The talent level is fantastic. I worry about that being a situation that is tenable at best, could blow up at any moment. And I think if it does, it's going to get ugly when it does.
All right, so he said he worked in Philadelphia, so I'm pretty locked into what's going on in Philadelphia as far as the reporters, and I never heard of this dude. So far as the research I did, he worked in Philadelphia for a short amount of time. And when he was in Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts was a sophomore in college. So I don't know where he's getting his information from. He's not even locked in like that, like the Howard Eskins or like the Chris Franklins or like the Elliot Shore Parts and stuff like that. He's not locked in like those guys. You know the names. We don't really rock with them like that, but we know the names when we see them. And again, I never heard of this dude, but he's saying there's some locker room problem and this and that. And I had to look up where he's currently at. Again, he's in New York. He's a Mets fan, more than likely a Giants fan. He do play-by-plays for Rutgers. So he's not a Philly fan. He's not a Philly fan at all. So he got what he wanted. He got the clicks. He got the eyes on him. Now people are going to be watching him, see what he's saying, but I think it's BS. I think it's BS. And this narrative is going to spew into week 1. Week 1, when we win in games during the season, this talk is going to die down. So this thing with Jalen Hurts' leadership being questioned, unfortunately, Eagles fans, that's what we're going to hear from big media. We're going to hear how not good Jalen Hurts is as a leader. We're going to hear Saquon is old and can he do it? And our defense, that's what we're going to hear. Jalen Hurts, Saquon, defense. They're not going to talk about A.J. Brown because he just signed an extension. They're not going to talk about Devontae Smith because he just signed an extension. Of course, our O-line is 1 and 2. If you want to pick us or the Lions, I'm cool with that. And that's really it. That's all you could go on. Maybe our linebackers, but our linebackers won't get too many clicks on the bit media. So Jalen Hurts, Saquon, defense in general. That's gonna be the talk. I'm sorry, guys, but this dude has no credibility in Philadelphia. It's just bit media doing what they doing, getting guys to talk about it, getting the clicks. And he got everything he wanted out of this. Like Jalen Hurts leadership coming from him. Nah, he don't know what he talking about. He don't know what you talking about, man. But hey, man, what do you think? How do you feel about the news today? Jalyx Hunt. I know he's a rare guy. I rarely talk about, but we gotta watch and see. We gotta watch and see what he do, and maybe he could be that real gem because he got the skill sets, he got the knowledge on the field. But can he do it? Can he live up to that third round pick? We will see. Um, Also Jaylen Herz. Do you believe the story? And do we need another defensive end? But this is Eagle Al, man. I'm up.